Hello there and welcome to this video lesson on rational functions. After watching this video lesson, you will be able to learn how to solve both rational equations and rational inequalities that involve rational functions. Remember that our rational functions are those functions that are the division of two polynomials. We can have simple rational functions like 5 over x, or more complicated ones like the quantity x minus 5 all over the quantity x squared minus 3x plus 4. In this video lesson, we are going to learn how to solve equations and inequalities that involve these rational functions. Yes, you will see an equation or inequality that has rational functions on one or both sides of the equation or inequality. You will learn the steps you need to take to solve these problems, and then I will give you some pointers on what to keep in mind. You'll come across these types of problems more and more often as you progress in your math. So knowing how to solve these types of equations will serve you well. But before anything else, let's have an activity. You are going to distinguish if the given is a rational function, rational equation, rational inequality or not. I will give you 5 seconds to answer, or you may pause this so you can have more time to think. Here's the given. X over 5 plus 1/4 equals x over 2. Timer starts now. And the answer is rational equation. Equations that contain rational expressions are called rational equations. Next, we have 1 over x is less than or equal to 7. Timer starts now. Time's up. The answer is it's rational inequality. So bakit ito inequality? So this has a rational expression which is 1 over x, and yung sign naman niya, masasabi natin na inequality ang given if yung sign is may less than or greater than, or less than and equal to, or greater than or equal to. How about this one? 6 over x squared minus 4x plus 3 minus 1 all over x minus 3 equals 1 all over 4x minus 4. 5 seconds to answer. And time's up. What do you think? Madali lang to. The answer is rational equation because of that equal sign. Okay? Madali lang siyang ma-identify. Next, we have f of n equals 2 plus n all over n plus 1. 5 seconds to answer. Time's up. And the answer is, it's a rational function. Why? A rational function is a function of the form f of x equals p of x over q of x, where p and q, or yung numerator and denominator, are polynomials. And dapat yung denominator must not be equal to 0 kasi magiging undefined siya. So pag merong mga f of n, f of x, ganon. So it's a rational function. How about this one? 5 all over x squared minus 4x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 0. 5 seconds to answer. Time's up. Isang tingin pa lang, alam na natin ang sagot. And the answer is, it's a rational inequality. Next, h of z is equal to square root of z plus 2 all over z squared minus 4. 5 seconds to answer. And time's up. What do you think is the answer? Okay, so this is not a rational function. Not rational equation. This is not a rational inequality. Bakit? Kasi ang numerator ay hindi polynomial. Again, kailangan ang numerator and denominator ay polynomial. Pero dito, in this case, I will show you bakit siya hindi naging function. Kasi, because of this square root. Okay? So, pag i-review natin yung mga past class natin sa math, ang polynomial, dapat kung meron man siyang variable, ang exponent ng variable ay hindi dapat fraction. So, dapat whole number. And itong square root na to, kung gagawin natin siyang exponent, this is equal to 1/2. So, hindi siya whole number. Dapat, ang polynomial, ang kanyang exponent is a whole number. So, this is not a rational function. This given, ayan, g of x is equal to 2 plus x raised to 1/2 minus 3x all over x squared plus 2x plus 1. 5 seconds to answer. Okay, time's up. So what do you think? Okay, so this is not a rational function. Again, kanina sinabi ko na dapat ang polynomial, ang kanyang exponent ng isang term or ng variable niya is a whole number. But in this case, ang exponent ng second term sa numerator is 1/2, which is a fraction. Dapat whole number. So this is not a rational function. So analysis tayo. How can you distinguish a rational function? Rational equation and rational inequality. Madali lang, unahin natin yung inequality. So, merong mga rational expressions doon. And yung sign naman niya is may greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Rational equation, meron siyang rational expressions and then may sign siya na equals. Okay? And rational function naman, it is in the form of f of x is equal to p of x over q of x, and dapat yung p and q ay polynomials. And dapat yung denominator is not equal to 0. Ito number 2, how can rational expressions or equations be used in real life? So may mga problems, okay, I will show you dito sa next slide natin, like work problems. So here's the problem. Suppose one painter can paint the entire house in 12 hours and the second painter takes 8 hours to paint a similarly sized house. How long would it take the two painters together to paint the house? What we're going to do here is i-add natin yung labor ng dalawang painter. So ang isang tao, 12 hours niyang ginawa, plus yung isang painter naman, 8 hours niyang ginawa. Ang result, so 1 over 12 plus 1 over 8, ang sagot is 5 over 24. Yung 5 over 24, i-equate natin yan siya sa 1 over t. And yung t, yan naman yung time na hinahanap natin or para malaman natin kung ilang hours nila gagawin yung painting jobs together. So we have 1 over t equals 5 over 24. To solve for t, ang gagawin dito is, so ito na, solving rational equation. Ang gagawin natin is, kung ganito, we can cross-multiply. We cross-multiply, so we have, ito, I will show you. Sige, t times 5, so we have 5t. Then 1 times 24, we have 24. And then para t na lang yung matira dito, we will divide this by 5. And also here, divide this by 5. So, ang t dyan, or ang final answer natin, is 4.8 hours. Final answer is 4.8 hours para i-paint nila together ang house. Now, let's start solving rational equations. So here's the formal definition of rational equation. It is an equation that contains one or more rational expressions, and rational expressions can be written as p of x over q of x, where p and q are polynomials. Here's an example. We have x squared all over x plus 1 equals 1 all over x plus 1. And here's the step in solving rational equations. Number 1, eliminate the rational expressions in the equation by multiplying both sides of the equation by the LCD. Number 2, solve the equation. And number 3, check your solution. The steps are the same no matter how big the rational functions are. What you need to know to get started is your algebra and how to solve various types of polynomials. The most important thing is how to factor quadratics. Now, let's proceed sa example. So, we have x over 5 plus 1 over 4 equals x over 2. So, ito yung mga steps na sinabi ko kanina. Number 1, first step, we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD. So, or the least common denominator. So, ano yung LCD natin dito? Okay, so 5, 4, and 2. Ang LCD natin is 20. We are going to multiply 20 sa lahat ng terms sa equation. So, solve the equation. Pag na-multiply na natin, so first term, we have x over 5 times 20. So, pag magiging 20 divide 5 is 4. So, magiging 4x. And then 1/4 times 20. 1/4 times 20, it's 5. And then the last term here, x over 2 times 20, the answer is 10x. Next steps are very easy. Ang kailangan nyo lang i-remember is yung algebra nyo. So we have here 5 equals 10x minus 4x. And then solve for x. 10x minus 4x is 6x. So para yung x na lang, solve for x, divide natin ang both sides by 6. The answer is 5 over 6 equals x. Because we are dealing with rational functions here, we need to plug this solution back into the original problem just to check that it works. So plugging 5 over 6 back into the original problem, we get 5 over 6 over 5 plus 1/4 equals 5 over 6 over 2. That turns into 5 over 12 equals 5 over 12, which checks out. So that means our answer is 5 over 6. About this rational equation. First step, multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD. Looking at the denominators, the LCD is the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity x plus 3. Now, we will multiply the LCD sa lahat ng terms dito sa ating equation. Starting with the first term, we have x all over x plus 2 times itong LCD. So, ang gagawin, makancel na siya. Na-divide na natin. Ang matitira, x times the quantity x plus 3. The answer is x squared plus 3x. So, yan. X squared plus 3x. Yung second term naman, we have this multiplied sa LCD. So, ito. Na-divide na natin yan. Ang numerator and denominator. Na-divide na yan siya. LCD sa denominator. Ang natira na lang is 2. And then equals, copy lang, equals, itong last, yan, divided by, or multiplied by the LCD. The answer is, ito is, makancel out na, yung x plus 3, na nasa ibaba or nasa denominator. Ang natira, 5 times x is 5x plus 5 times 2 is 10. Now the equation is x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 5x plus 10. Since meron tayong exponent dito, okay, what we're going to do next is we are going to move all the terms in one side and 0 na lang yung matitira sa isang side. And magiging, so this will become x squared plus 3x minus 5x equals 10 minus 2. Okay, so 0 na lang yung natira sa isang side. Magiging x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. And then after this, okay, let's solve for the value of x. Anong gagawin natin? Ifa-factor natin siya. So, ano yung mga factors? We have x minus 4 times the quantity x plus 2. And then let's solve for x. Ano yung mga possible values ng x dito? So, magiging, ito, para maging 0 ito, ang value ng x is 4. Dito naman, para maging 0, ang value ng x dito is negative 2. So, ito yung mga possible na solution for this rational equation. Now, let's check the solution. Let's plug in the solution to the original equation. Plugging in yung 4. So, we have here, ito. Plug in natin ng 4. Ano kaya ang kanyang sagot? Ito. So, it turns out 5 over 7 equals 5 over 7. So, it checks out. And for x equals negative 2, plug in natin. Ang sagot niya, it is undefined. So, that means, hindi pwede ang negative 2. Therefore, only, hindi siya pwede. So, only x equals 4 ang sagot. And itong x equals negative 2 is an extraneous solution. So, pag naging sagot siya dito sa number 2, pag sinolve natin siya, pero pag na-check natin siya, hindi naman siya pwede, ang tawag dyan is extraneous solution. Okay, how about this equation? First step, hanapin natin ang kanyang LCD. So, LCD nito is x plus 2 and then x minus 2. Then, let's multiply the LCD sa bawat terms ng ating equation. So, let's start with the first term. Itong term na to, multiplied by the LCD. So, magiging, makakancel itong x plus 2, na-divide na natin siya. Okay, so matitira 7 times x or 7x and then 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. Next term, i-multiply natin. So ito, cancel out ang x minus 2. Pareho silang may x minus 2. Ang natira is ito na lang. Multiplied by 5. So magiging 5 times x and then plus 5 times 2 is 10. Equals, so we have here x squared minus 4. So ito is also equal to x squared minus 4. So na-cancel na yan. Or na-divide na natin yan siya. Ang natira na lang is 10x minus 2. This is now our equation. 7x minus 14 plus 5x plus 10 equals 10x minus 2. What we're going to do is to combine like terms. Combine all the same terms. We have 7 plus 5 minus 10. Ang labas is 2x and then sa other side is 2. Solve for x. The answer is 1. So let's check if ang 1 ba is a solution or it's an extraneous solution by plugging in this value to the original equation. So plugging in, yan na siya. Equals ba? Or equal ba ang sagot sa both sides? Let's check. So, equal naman. It checks out. And that means x equals 1 is a solution. And now, I have prepared for you some equations for you to practice on your own. Go, go, go! Now, let's look at solving an inequality involving rational functions. But first, let me show you some examples of irrational inequality. So, ito yung mga examples natin. As you can see, bakit siya tinawag na inequality is dahil sa kanyang sign. So, meron tayong less than, greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to. So, here's the step in solving rational inequalities. Number 1. Get a zero on one side and write the other side as a single rational inequality. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, dapat daw sa isang side ng inequality, zero siya, and sa other side daw, you have to express this as a single fraction or a single rational expression. Number 2, factor the numerator and denominator as much as possible. Number 3, determine where both the numerator and the denominator are 0. And number 4, make a number line. Number 5, we're going to test points. Please take note of this, okay? So first, a closed circle in a number line means that the endpoint is included. So, meron tayong mga points dyan. Okay, gagamit tayo ng closed circle mamaya. Ibig sabihin yan is kasali yung value na yun. We're going to use an open circle. Kung ibig sabihin yan, hindi kasali yung value na yun. And also, open circle daw for the points where the denominator is 0. And please take note of this. We are going to use a closed circle para sa mga points ng numerator kung saan siya magiging 0. Lalong-lalo na kung ang inequality is gumamit ng ganitong sign, yung may less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And we're going to use this interval, yan, closed interval, kung closed circle ang ginamit natin or ang gagamitin natin. And for the open circle, okay, gagamit tayo ng open circle always sa points kung saan ang denominator are 0 and for these signs, kung may mga signs na ganito, okay, and we are going to use this para sa solution natin later. Mamaya, mas maiintindihan ninyo dahil sa ating mga examples. So here are the problems that we are going to solve. There are 3 problems. Solve, then express your answers using set builder notation and interval notation. Let's start with the first problem. X plus 1 all over x minus 5 is less than or equal to 0. First step. Get a 0 on one side and write the other side as a single rational inequality. So, dito pa lang sa first step natin, check na tayo kasi 0 na yung isang side. Okay, dito, 0 na siya. At saka dito naman, okay, naka-express na siya as a single rational inequality. Okay, isa lang siya, parang isang fraction lang siya. Number 2, factor the numerator and denominator as much as possible. So, as you can see, ang numerator, hindi na natin siya mapa-factor pa. Okay, simplified na yan, as well as sa denominator. So, it's a happy face here. And number 3, determine where both the numerator and the denominator are 0. So, dito, for the numerator, ano yung pwedeng value ng x na magiging 0 ang numerator? So, para maging 0 yan siya, x plus 1 equals 0. So, the value of x is negative 1. So, negative 1 plus 1 is 0. How about for the denominator? Anong value niyan para maging 0 yan siya? So, ang x is dapat maging 5. So, 5 minus 5 equals 0. So, that is step number 3. Now, step number 4. Make a number line. So, paano tayo gagawa ng number line? Madali lang yan siya. I will explain to you. So, sa number line natin, ang ilalagay natin ng mga points lang dito or mga numbers dito are negative 1 and 5. Again, ang ilalagay natin na numbers dito is kung ano yung mga numbers na nakuha natin sa step number 3. So we have -1 and 5. I-arrange lang natin siya from lowest to highest. Now, sa ating mga circles, ano yung gagamitin natin? Closed circle or open circle? Nakadepende yan siya. Tingnan natin itong sign. Okay? Itong sign. Diba kanina sinabi ko, tingnan mo natin itong sign. So, this is less than or equal to. Pag less than or equal to, ano yung sign or ano yung circle na gagamitin natin? Closed circle. Okay? Always siya closed circle. But it is only applicable for the numerator. So, ang numerator natin is -1, kaya siya closed circle ang -1. How about dito sa 5? Okay? Bakit siya open circle? Kanina sinabi ko, we are going to use an open circle always for the points where the denominator is equal to 0. So, kahit na ang sign dito is may or equal to, pero pag nasa denominator siya, yung mga points sa denominator, always siya open circle. So, ang closed circle only applicable doon sa mga points ng numerator kung saan siya magiging 0. Next. So, para sa next step natin na magte-test tayo ng points, maglalagay tayo ng mga numbers dito. It's up to you kung anong yung number na ilalagay nyo. So, dito, ang pinili ko -2. Bakit -2? So, pipili kayo ng number na dito, to the left, ng -1. So, ano yung mga numbers less than -1? So, ang pinili ko is -2 para later, mas madali na lang siyang isolve pag nag-test tayo ng points. Next, for dito sa gitna, 0. Ano yung mga number between -1 and 5? So, pinili ko 0 para mas madali siya later. And for the last point or number, ang pinili ko is 6. Okay? Pipili ka ng number na greater than 5. So, pinili ko is 6. Next step. Yan na, okay na tayo sa number line. Then, let's test the points. Paano tayo mag-test ng points? We're going to substitute these points, itong -2, 0, and 6 sa ating inequality. And kailangan yung answer natin is less than or equal to 0 kasi yan yung nandito. Okay? Ang goal natin is, dapat ang sagot is less than or equal to 0. So, in here, dito tayo sa first. Okay, sa first, if ang x daw is equal to -2 yan, if ang x natin is equal to -2, i-substitute natin yan siya sa original na inequality. So, pag na-substitute na natin siya, ang sagot niya is, ganyan, -2 plus 1 all over -2 minus 5, less than or equal to 0 ba siya? Ano yung sagot? So, as you can see here, ang final answer natin is 1 over 7, and 1 over 7 is not less than 0. Okay, so that means hindi siya pwede. Later malalaman natin, hindi siya solution. Okay, so next naman, 0. Kung i-plug in natin ang 0 sa original na inequality, okay, so 0 plus 1 all over 0 minus 5, ang sagot niya is -1/5. It is less than 0. So, check siya. It is a solution. And for the third point, na iti-test natin, na 6, okay, it's greater than. So, that means, hindi din siya solution. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, since 0, yung nasa gitna lang na point, yung accepted na solution, ibig sabihin, lahat ng points dito, okay, lahat ng points dito sa gitna is a solution. Kasali ang -1. Bakit kasali ang -1? Kasi this is a closed circle. So, from -1 up to this point, is a solution. Paano natin isusulat yung final answer? Okay, in set builder notation. Tandaan natin itong kanina na sinabi ko. Here's the solution for the answer for using set builder notation. We have ito, the set of all x such that x is greater than or equal to -1 and less than 5. So, here's the set builder notation. Again, sinabi kanina, yung solution natin is from -1 to ganito dito, less than 5. And for interval notation, mas madali siya isulat kaysa sa set builder notation, pero alam kong kayang-kaya yan. So, we will use ito, close interval. Bakit? Kasi meron tayong close circle. So, yan. Close circle and then parenthesis. Kasi this is an open circle. Okay, the answer is from -1 to 5. And that is how you solve a rational inequality. Now, let's take the last example in solving rational inequality. So here's negative x plus 8 all over x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 5. Now, the goal here for the first step is dapat 0 yung isang side and the other side naman is expressed as a single rational expression. But in this case, dito sa first, 5 pa ang right side niya. So, nilipat ko yung 5. So, magiging dito, minus 5 na siya. But, kahit na 0 na yan dito sa right side, dito sa second line, dalawang term siya. So, hindi siya expressed as a single rational expression. So, kailangan nating isahin siya. Let's make a way na magiging the same ang kanilang denominator para makombine ang dalawang terms. This is just like subtracting fractions. Naging complicated lang siya, tignan, dahil magkasama na ang numbers and variables. So, to combine this, let us find the LCD of the two terms. So, ano yung LCD nito? Ito at saka ito. Okay? So, ano kaya? Ang LCD nila is x minus 2. For the next line, okay, what I did is, I just copied negative x plus 8. Bakit? Kasi, just copy this negative x plus 8 kasi ang kanyang denominator is already the LCD. Okay, na x minus 2. Okay, for the next terms, na negative 5 is x, ang ginawa ko, minultiply ko itong x minus 2 sa negative 5. So, negative 5 times x, sagot is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2, the answer is positive 10. Okay? So, yan na yun siya. But to complete the first step, pwede pa itong ma-simplify. So, let's simplify by combining the like terms. So, combining like terms sa numerator, we will now have negative 6x plus 18. Let's proceed to step number 2. Ano yung step number 2? Kung maalala nyo, kailangan nating i-factor as much as possible ang numerator and ang denominator. So, for the numerator, ano yung common factor nila? So, pwede nating i-factor out ang negative 6. And for the denominator, okay na siya. Hindi na siya ma-simplify pa. So, yung numerator lang yung iibahin natin. So, magiging negative 6 times the quantity x minus 3. All over x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. Now, let's proceed to step number 3. We will find all the values of x that will make the numerator 0 and also the denominator equal to 0. So, ano yung mga pwedeng values ng x dito? Okay, that will make this numerator equal to 0. Okay, negative 6 times ito. Paano siya maging 0? So, ang x dapat dito is, okay, so x should be positive 3. And for the denominator, para maging 0 itong denominator, so x minus 2 equals 0. So, x should be positive 2. Okay, so numerator is x equals 3 and denominator is x equals 2. Next step to this is we are going to make a number line. So, for making a number line, we are going to arrange from lowest to highest. Now, the question is, ano yung circle na gagamitin dito? Open circle or closed circle? Okay, let's start with 2. So, 2, ito yung, ang 2 is, yan yung value ng denominator. Okay? Or value ng x sa denominator that will make it 0. So, since nasa denominator siya, always magagamit tayo ng open circle. Question, teacher, bakit always open circle? Open circle siya kasi hindi siya kasali. Okay? Hindi pwede na ang denominator magiging 0 kasi magiging undefined yan lahat. Okay, na given. So, hindi pwedeng maging 0 ang denominator kasi magiging undefined siya. So, 2, hindi kasali sa solution. Okay, so yan yung sagot bakit siya open circle. Now, for 3, titignan natin is etong sign. Inequality sign. So, ang inequality sign natin is greater than or equal to. So, pag ganyan siya, may or equal to, we will use, tignan natin dito. Okay, we will use a closed circle. So, yan na. Next step to this is, we're going to test points. So, pipili kayo ng points. Kayo bahala kung ano yung points na gagamitin ninyo. Pero sa akin, ang ginamit ko, ang less than 2, so pinili ko is 0 para mas madali siyang isolve. And dito naman, between 2 and 3, I use 2.5. You can also use 2.1, 2.75. Kayo bahala. It's up to you. Basta between 2 and 3. And dito naman, it's greater than 3, so I choose 5. Kayo din bahala kung anong gusto nyo ito-try na points. Isa lang yung sagot or goal natin at the end. Kaya anong gagawin sa mga points na to, itong 0, 2.5, and 5, isa-substitute natin siya dito. Okay? Dito na inequality. Pero ang goal natin, dapat daw is greater than or equal to 0. Hindi siya dito isa-substitute ha. Not here. Okay, not here. Kundi dito siya. Okay? So, kung 0, ano yung kanyang sagot? Okay, substitute dito. Ang sagot is negative 9. And negative 9 is less than or equal to 0. How about 2.5? Kung i-substitute natin siya dito, ano naman ang sagot? You may pause this kung gusto nyong mag-solve. Okay? So, I will now show you the answer. 6 is greater than or equal to 0. And number 5, yung number 5 naman, pag i-substitute natin siya dito, na inequality, ano yung magiging sagot? We have negative 4 is less than or equal to 0. Now, here's the question. Saan dito yung mga solution? So, saan dito na parts ng number line ng solution? So, ang goal natin is dapat ang sign, pag mag-test tayo ng points, is greater than or equal to 0. So, saan dyan ang may greater than or equal to 0? Ito ba? 1, 2, or 3? So, we have itong number 2, which is 6 is greater than or equal to 0. So, ang next step natin, i-shade natin yung number line para mas madali natin ma-identify later sa solution. So, yan na yan. Yung naka-shade na yellow-green. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin daw, ang solution natin is from 2 to 3. And, dito, okay, hindi kasali ang 2. As you can see, tingnan natin. Pag open circle siya, you will use parenthesis. Okay, so ibig sabihin, ganyan lang siya. Okay, so parenthesis. And pag closed circle naman siya, we will use bracket. Okay, close interval. Yan. Ang solution natin is nandito lang. From 2 to 3, and ang 3 is kasama siya kasi it's closed circle. Gumamit tayo ng closed circle. Now, let's write the solution in set builder notation. So, paano yan siya? Ito yung set builder notation. Kung babasahin natin, the set of all x such that, okay, such that x is greater than or equal to 2, greater than 2, x is greater than 2, or less than or equal to 3. Again, I will read the set builder notation. The set of all x such that x is greater than 2 and less than or equal to 3. That is how you read it. And for interval notation, yan, nakita nyo na sa graph, nasulat ko na. So, paano yan siya? We have the answer 2 to 3. That's it.
And that ends my video lesson on rational functions. I hope you learned something. Stay safe.